cell phones, wind turbines, computers. These are just some of the tools that we as a society has become reliant on. For the past 50 years, technology has been advancing at a frantic pace. All of this we owe to rare earth elements, the secret ingredient of everything. The rare earth elements, or REE for short, are a group of 17 chemical elements which appear in the periodic table. Rare earth elements generally fall into one of the two categories, that being the light rare earth and the heavy rare earth, each with varying levels of uses and demand. In general, they are vital to some of the world's fastest growing markets, that being the clean energy industry and the high-tech industry. While one might argue that things such as smartphones and LCD TVs are a want, rare earth elements not only powers them, but also crucial equipment that is necessary for our modern way of life. Things such as catalysts for our cars, which without rare earth elements would not be possible and our cars would be much less efficient. Now, the single largest use of rare earth elements in the medical industry is in the incorporation of permanent magnets to generate high strength magnetic fields for MRI imaging. Such things are absolutely critical for the well being of our lives, and thus, rare earth elements are clearly a need for not only the economy but also for our personal well being. Contrary to popular belief, rare earth elements are actually quite common. Take for example cerium. Cerium is actually 6 times as abundant in the Earth's crust than something like lead. So why is rare earth elements so called rare? The answer is it's actually extremely hard to find them in commercially viable concentrations. If we take a look at the map of the world, there is very few places where rare earth elements exist in significant quantities that make it worthwhile for companies and governments to go and mine and refine them, thus making rare earth elements rare. Due to the high global demand and the scarcity of supply, rare earth elements are quite expensive on the global market today. Now, generally, due to the market structure this industry operates in, they are very prone to wild price swings depending on the action and depending on the mood of the major producers. The rare earth elements industry is best described as a monopoly. Currently, according to the latest statistics, 97% of the world's total rare earth element production comes from one country, China. According to the Shanghai Stock Exchange and Bloomberg Market, one of the world's largest rare earth mining company, the Inner Mongolia Balto Steel Rare Earth High-Tech Company, had a whopping $2.5 billion in revenue in just one quarter from last year. Of that, 31% or $783 million were profit. Like most state-owned companies, the Inner Mongolian Steel and Rare Earth Mining High-Tech Company does not release its specific revenue versus cost information. But rather, if we take a look at other industrial companies in other countries, such as Molycorp, which is the largest in the United States, we can have a clearer picture of how companies that's involved in the rare earth industry operates. According to BusinessWeek.com, Molycorp reported a $554 million in total revenue. However, the profit of that was only $3.6 million. Now, if you add on the other operating expenses such as administration and depreciation, the company actually lost $230 million. Now, many people will begin to wonder why. Why would the largest rare earth element company in the United States be losing money? Now, all we have to do is look at the market structure this industry operates in. It's a monopoly, and in this case, China controls the global production of rare earth elements. Therefore, if China chooses to raise its prices, it can do so. If it chooses to lower its prices, it can also do so. And China really has what is known as a master switch. And as Tim Wu talked about in the cycle, larger companies, or in this case countries like China, will push smaller competitors out of business. That is only natural. Now, it has already done so. In 2002, Molycorp closed its only mine in Mountain Pass, California. It has only recently reopened its mine due to the rising global demand for rare earth elements, and unless something is done by intervention, the Molycorp's industry would definitely not be able to compete with the giants in China that control 97% of the world's total production. So, how are rare earth elements produced? First, geologists and surveyors will locate a significant deposit where rare earth elements are. Then, like most mining operations, heavy machineries along with various laborers and engineers will dig the raw materials out of the ground, which will then be sent to refineries where it will be basically turned into a more polished form, a more refined form. For example, cerium will then be refined into cerium oxide, which is used as a glass additive throughout the world. Most mines require both low skilled laborers, who are the miners, and highly skilled trained professionals, such as engineers. Therefore, while there is a mass production, there is a very limited supply, despite the fact that China owns 97% of the world's total production of rare earth elements. It only holds about 36% of the world's total reserves. Other areas such as India, Russia, Canada, Australia, South Africa, and the United States hold the rest of the world's rare earth elements. However, in China, one of the reasons why it is produced there is for a number of reasons, both political, economical, and social. First of all, politically, China in recent years, starting from the 1990s, has really made a push in making itself one of the world's leaders in rare earth mining. One of the reasons they've done this is they saw that if they can control a monopoly on this sector, it will greatly boost their economy and their economic power. There's a reason why China holds a monopoly over rare earth element production. First, it has a cheaper labor cost. While labor cost has risen in China in recent years, it is still significantly lower than those of developed countries where other rare earth elements are mined. Second, it has less environmental regulations when it comes to mining. Lastly, companies that mine rare earth elements in China are state owned. It has the full support of the government and therefore have an advantage over its private competitors in developed nations. Mining, refining, and recycling of rare earths has serious environmental consequences if not done properly. A particular hazard is the radioactive trailing resulted from the common occurrences of thorium and uranium in rare earth element ores. Additionally, toxic acids are required during the refining process. Improper handling of these substances can result in extensive environmental damage. In 2011, a mine in Malaysia was the focus of a $100 million cleanup. Residents blamed the rare earth refinery for birth defects and leukemia cases within 5 years in a community of only 1,000 people. Yet there is without a doubt that rare earth elements has contributed positively to society in both countries where it is produced and in our lives where we use them. For example, in Inner Mongolia, the average salary increased to $22,000 US. That is significantly higher than the rest of the country where the national average is only around $4,000. This is a positive externality. According to the EPA, it takes an average of 8 years for a mine to be approved in the US. Similarly, in recent years, there has been a significant push within China to have more environmental regulations when it comes to mines. Since all companies are state owned in the Chinese mining sector, if the promise remains true, then we may see more responsible environmental actions taken by these companies. With global demand likely to rise, it is becoming more and more evident that rare earth elements will play a key role in the geopolitics of the 21st century. During a territorial dispute in 2010, China used its stranglehold on the global supply of rare earth elements against Japan. Yet we can change our weakness, Canada's weakness, on depending on other sources of rare earth elements into one of our strengths. We should seize this opportunity and develop our own domestic source of rare earth. This way, we will no longer be dependent on other people, but also play a huge role in the global supply chain, and thus helping Canada's economy to move forward and create more jobs and opportunity for Canadians.